Okay, here's video 4. It's rules of exponents. Now I've written down the rules and I'll leave these up here through the whole video until we go to the other page. Here's the 5 rules we're going to work with first. The product rule means like bases equals add exponents. Here's an example. If I have x squared and multiply that times x cubed. Look, the base, this is the base, this is the exponent, this is the whole thing is called a power, but the base here, x, is the same as the base here, this x. So if I have like bases, I add exponents. What's 2 plus 3? It equals x to the 5th. Now, don't try to do x squared times y cubed and say that's xy to the 5th. It's not, because x and y are not like bases. That would be wrong. However, if you have numbers that are the same, like if I have a squared b cubed, and then multiply that times a b to the 4th, I do have like bases in there, so I'll only add the like bases that are the ones that are alike. So it's a squared times a to the 1, so 2 plus 1 is a cubed. And then I have b cubed plus times b to the 4th, so 3 plus 4 is 7. So you can do it if you have multiple variables in the expression, just not between unlike variables. That's what I mean by say like bases. Okay? So that's the product rule. If you have like bases, you add exponents. Okay? Next, we're going to have the power rule. The power rule means if you see a power to a power. Now, here's what a power to a power looks like. It's like x squared to the 4th power. Now, I don't see like bases. There's not a second base. I only see an x. I only see one base, an x. So if I have a power to a power, I multiply the exponents. This is going to be x to the 8th. Okay? Let's do that again with a number. If I have 3x cubed and all of that to the 3rd power, this is the power rule. So power to the power, I multiply. Remember, even on a number, there's an exponent. There's 3 to the 1, so it becomes 3 to the 3rd power. And then x cubed to the 3rd power, 3 times 3 is 9, so it would be x to the 9th. And you would have to simplify this further. 3 cubed is 3 times 3 times 3, which is 3 times 3 is 9, times 3 is 27. So 27x to the 9th. Okay? Now, the quotient rule is when you're dividing this stuff. Then you need to think about, they cancel each other out, and who's going to win. So watch, this is really simple. If I have x to the 5th over x squared, we are dividing these bases instead of multiplying them. So the 5 and the 2 are going to fight each other, and they always cancel each other out. But who wins? Well, there's 3 more on top. The top side's going to win over the bottom. So this is going to be x cubed. And by the same token, if you have more on the bottom, so y squared over y to the 6th. These exponents always cancel each other out, so it's going to be y to the 4th on the bottom. But this doesn't just go away. He's left with a 1 on top, and have y to the 4th. And the same thing could happen if you have, let's see, x squared y over, I don't know, x y to the 5th. Okay? Treat the bases separately, okay? Treat the x's separately. There's 2 here and 1 here. That means 1x is left on the top, and there's 1 here and 5 here, so the 1 cancels 1 out on the bottom, and you're left with y to the 4th on the bottom. All right? So that's the quotient rule. Okay, the rule for 0 exponent. Anything to a 0 exponent equals 1. I'm going to say that again. Anything to a 0 exponent equals 1. So x to the 0 equals 1. X, Y, Z, A, B, C to the 56th power, all of that to the 0 power equals 1. Anything to the 0 power equals 1. Remember that. And the last thing, if you see a negative exponent, I just want you to think of flip it. Because we don't like negative things, so we're going to flip it around. Like if you see a frown, you want to turn it upside down, flip it, okay? So if I have x to the negative 5th, all you need to do is flip it to the bottom of the fraction bar. This equals, by rule, 1 over x to the 5th. Okay? How about x over y to the negative 2 power? First thing you do is you take care of the negative, you flip it and make it y over x to the 2nd power, and then you distribute the 2 to each of these powers, so it becomes y squared over x squared. So that's what you do with negative exponents. Okay? Now, the next page is going to have several examples for you to pause and work through. Let's go to the next page. Here's 5 examples. I want you to pause it and work these out. It might take you a little while. So pause, pause, pause. Do it right now. Okay, here we go back. We're going to see these answers. Let's see. We're going to use product rule. X cubed times x squared is x to the fifth, and y to the fourth times y sixth is y to the 10th. Okay? This one we're going to have to use a power rule on the top and the bottom, and then use the quotient rule to simplify. So 2 times 2 is 4. 3 times 2 is 6, so I have y to the 6th on top. This is going to be x to the 1 times 3, so x cubed, and this is y to the 12th. And then quotient rule. 4 and 3, so 1x wins on the top, and 6 on the top, 12 on the bottom. There's 6 left on the bottom over y to the 6th. Okay? What about if you have just a negative exponent here? Well, let's just treat this as the product rule. I have a to the 1 times a to the 2, so it's a cubed. And I have b to the cube times b to the minus cube. It's 3 plus negative 3. It's b to the 0. We leave that like that, right? No, b to the 0 is 1, so it just becomes a cubed times 1, which is a cubed. All right? How about if I have a negative exponent? Remember, we're just going to flip it. First, we're going to make it 1 over 5x squared. Take that all to the second power. And we have to distribute this power through here. So it's going to be 5 squared, 1 over 25. And x squared to the second power is x to the fourth. 2 times 2 is 4. Now this one we're going to flip this one and this one. So this one's going to go to the top, and this one's going to go to the this one's going to go to the bottom. This one's going to go to the top. So it's going to be 4x cubed, y cubed, z to the fourth, all of that to the third power. And then on the bottom, 2xy squared z cubed, all of that to the second power. And we have to distribute this power through all here and then use the product quotient rule. So 4 times 4 times 4, I'm letting you know it's 64. And then x cubed to the third is x to the ninth. If we multiply the powers, y cubed to the third is also y to the ninth. And then z to the fourth to the third power is z to the 12th. And we do that on the bottom. 2 squared is 4. See x squared. See y squared times 2, so it's y to the fourth. And z cubed times 2 is z to the 6th. Now, if you want to divide, 64 divided by 4 is 16. And then x to the ninth over x squared, there's 7 left on top. Let's see, y to the ninth over y to the fourth, and there's 5 of them. And 12 over 6, there is 6 of them left. It's kind of cool how this whole big jumbling mess of crap can simplify to this relatively simple thing right here. Okay? So there's your video number 4, rules of exponents. See you guys.